Welcome to Coin Discovery USA, the place where curiosity about everyday coins turns into incredible discoveries and where even the smallest piece of pocket change can reveal a story worth millions. And today we are exploring one of the most fascinating possibilities in modern coin collecting. The 2001 Lincoln 1-cent coin that under extraordinary circumstances and rare minting conditions has been discussed among collectors and enthusiasts, with potential values reaching as high as $16 million. An astonishing number for a coin that most people overlook every single day without a second thought, yet the world of numismatics has repeatedly proven that small mint mistakes, production anomalies, and unusual combinations of errors can transform a simple copper-plated zinc cent into an object of extreme rarity and collector demand. And that is exactly why the 2001 Lincoln cent has captured the imagination of collectors who carefully examine their coins searching for rare varieties. Dramatic errors, and unusual mint characteristics that could turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure, because when a coin leaves the United States Mint with unexpected characteristics, it instantly becomes something different from the millions of other coins produced in the same year, and that difference is what collectors are always hunting for. The possibility that a rare error slipped through the minting process and quietly entered circulation waiting for someone observant enough to recognize its importance. And the 2001 Lincoln cent provides several intriguing opportunities for this kind of discovery because the minting process involves multiple stages including blank production, planchet preparation, die engraving, striking, and inspection, and at any one of these stages something unusual can happen that creates a coin unlike the others. One of the most famous and valuable possibilities collectors look for is the double die error, which occurs when the coin die receives a misaligned impression during the hubbing process, causing design elements such as the date, the word liberty, or the motto "I in God We Trust" to appear doubled or slightly shifted, and when this doubling is strong and visible it becomes highly desirable among collectors because it represents a genuine mint mistake rather than damage that happened after the coin entered circulation. And a strong doubled die on a 2001 Lincoln cent could dramatically increase the coin's value, especially if it is discovered in high mint state condition with bright original luster. Another possibility that excites collectors is the off-center strike error, where the coin blank is not properly aligned within the striking chamber, and the design is stamped away from the center, leaving part of the coin blank visible with no design at all. And if the date remains visible while the strike is significantly off-center, the coin becomes extremely collectible because it clearly shows the dramatic minting error, while still preserving the identifying year. And collectors are particularly fascinated by off-center strikes that show 30, 40, or even 50% misalignment, making the coin appear unusual and unique compared to normal examples. Another type of mint mistake that could contribute to the extraordinary potential value of a 2001 Lincoln cent is the broad strike error, which occurs when the retaining collar that normally shapes the coin fails during the strike, allowing the metal to expand outward beyond the normal diameter, creating a coin that appears larger and flatter with no defined rim. And this type of error clearly demonstrates a mechanical failure during the minting process, making it highly interesting to collectors who specialize in mint errors. Then there's the clipped planchet error, which originates before the coin is even struck, when the metal strip used to punch coin blanks overlaps during the blanking process, causing a curved or straight section to be missing from the planchet. And when such a clipped blank is later struck with the Lincoln cent design, the result is a coin with a distinctive missing portion that clearly indicates a minting irregularity. Collectors often examine the edges of pennies carefully, searching for these clips because they are genuine mint errors that cannot be replicated after the coin leaves the mint. Another fascinating possibility that could elevate the value of a 2001 Lincoln cent is a strike-through error, which happens when foreign materials such as grease, cloth fibers, or debris becomes trapped between the die and the coin blank during striking, preventing part of the design from forming correctly and leaving an unusual pattern or impression on the finished coin. These strike-through errors can create dramatic visual effects depending on the material involved, and they serve as physical evidence of the chaotic and high-speed environment inside a coin press where thousands of coins are produced every minute. Collectors also search for die cracks and cut errors, which occur when the metal die used to strike coins begins to crack or break after repeated use. A die crack appears as a raised line on the coin because the crack in the die allows metal to flow into it during the strike, while a cut occurs when a piece of the die actually breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin's edge or design. These features can become quite large and dramatic, especially on late-stage die states, making the coin visually unique and therefore attractive to collectors who appreciate minting history captured directly on the surface of a coin. Another extremely rare possibility involves a wrong planchet strike, where the Lincoln cent design is accidentally struck onto a blank intended for a different denomination or metal composition, such as a dime planchet or experimental blank. And while such events are extremely uncommon, they have occurred in the past, and when authenticated they can command extraordinary prices because of their extreme rarity and the fascinating story behind how the mistake occurred within the minting facility. Collectors are also interested in rotated die errors, where the reverse design of the coin is not properly aligned with the obverse, resulting in a coin that appears rotated when flipped vertically. While small rotations are relatively common, larger rotations such as 90 or 180 degrees are far more dramatic and therefore more desirable. And when such an error appears on a well-preserved 2001 Lincoln cent, it adds another layer of uniqueness that collectors may find irresistible. Beyond these dramatic mint errors, there is also the factor of condition, which plays an enormous role in determining the value of any coin, because even a common coin can become extremely valuable when preserved in near-perfect condition. Collectors pay special attention to coins graded in high mint state levels with strong red coloration, sharp strike detail, and minimal contact marks, and when such condition combines with a rare error variety, the resulting coin can become exceptionally valuable within the numismatic marketplace. This is one of the reasons stories occasionally circulate about pennies potentially worth millions, because the combination of rarity, condition, historical significance, and collector demand can create astonishing auction results when the right coin appears at the right moment. The 2001 Lincoln cent was struck during a period when billions of pennies were produced for circulation across the United States. And yet within those billions of coins it is always possible that a handful of unusual examples escaped quality control, carrying rare minting anomalies that only careful collectors will notice years later. That is why experienced coin hunters often search through bank rolls, pocket change, and old jars of pennies, examining each coin under magnification, looking for unusual details that others might miss. Because history has repeatedly shown that remarkable discoveries can emerge from the most ordinary places, and the idea that a simple 1-cent coin dated 2001 could theoretically reach a value of $16 million under extraordinary circumstances continues to fuel excitement within the coin collecting community. Not because every coin from that year is valuable, but because the minting process itself allows for rare mistakes that create unique collectibles, and every collector knows that somewhere out there an undiscovered coin might still be waiting to be found, perhaps resting unnoticed in a drawer, hidden in a coin jar, or mixed among thousands of ordinary pennies in circulation, and the thrill of that possibility is what keeps collectors searching year after year, carefully examining each coin, learning about minting techniques, understanding error varieties, and sharing discoveries with fellow enthusiasts who appreciate the history and craftsmanship behind American coinage. The Lincoln cent itself has been a beloved part of United States currency since its introduction in 1909, honoring President Abraham Lincoln, and over the decades it has become one of the most widely collected coins in the world, with countless varieties, mint marks, and historical changes that make each year's issue slightly different from the last. By 2001 the cent was composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, a composition introduced in 1982 to reduce production costs. Yet despite this change, the coin retained its classic appearance, with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that remained in use until 2008. And within this familiar design, collectors continue to find fascinating variations and mint errors that remind us that even modern coins can hold surprising secrets. So the next time you encounter a 2001 Lincoln cent, take a closer look, because what appears to be an ordinary coin could actually contain subtle signs of a rare minting error, a doubled letter, a shifted strike, a crack in the die, or some other unusual feature that sets it apart from millions of others. And while the chances of discovering an example associated with an extraordinary value like $16 million are incredibly small, the excitement of searching and the possibility of uncovering a rare coin is what makes coin collecting such a rewarding and endlessly fascinating hobby for people around the world. And here at Coin Discovery USA we celebrate that excitement by exploring the stories, mysteries, and hidden potential within the coins we use every day, reminding everyone that sometimes the most valuable discoveries are hiding in plain sight, just waiting for a curious mind and a careful eye to notice them. Next, the 1988 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that most people would normally overlook without thinking twice. Yet under the right circumstances and with the right minting anomalies, this small copper-plated coin has been discussed among collectors with potential values reaching as high as $12 million. A shocking number for a coin that was originally worth only a single cent. But in the world of coin collecting, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary often comes down to tiny details, rare mint errors, and unusual production mistakes that occurred during the minting process. And the 1988 Lincoln cent sits right in the middle of a fascinating era of United States coin production, when the composition of the cent had recently changed from mostly copper to a zinc core with copper plating, a change introduced in 1982 that created new possibilities for minting anomalies, plating errors, and unusual die varieties that collectors continue to study and search for even decades later. Because whenever the United States Mint produces billions of coins every year using high-speed machinery, there is always the possibility that something unexpected happens during the production process. And when those unusual coins slip past inspection and enter circulation, they become highly desirable to collectors who appreciate the rarity and the story behind each mistake. And the 1988 Lincoln cent offers several different types of minting possibilities that could transform a common coin into an extraordinary collectible. One of the most talked about possibilities is the double die error, which occurs during the creation of the coin dies when the design is impressed more than once in slightly different positions, creating visible doubling in the date, the word liberty, or the national motto "I in God we trust." And when this doubling is strong and clearly visible without magnification, it becomes a major discovery for collectors because it indicates a genuine die creation error rather than damage after circulation, and coins with dramatic double die features often attract significant attention from collectors who specialize in die varieties. Another fascinating possibility associated with 1988 Lincoln cents involves the well-known reverse design transition that occurred during this time. Because subtle changes were made to the Lincoln Memorial reverse design over the years, and some collectors have discovered examples where the reverse die used for one year accidentally appeared on coins from another year, creating transitional varieties that are extremely rare and highly collectible. These transitional design errors are particularly exciting because they represent a moment in the minting process where the wrong die was paired with the obverse die, resulting in a coin that technically should not exist. And when collectors discover such coins, they often become headline pieces in the numismatic world due to their rarity and historical significance. Beyond double dies and transitional varieties, there are also dramatic striking errors that could occur with a 1988 penny, including off-center strikes where the coin blank is not perfectly aligned with the dies during striking, causing the design to appear shifted away from the center and leaving part of the blank surface completely empty. And when such errors preserve the date, while showing a large off-center strike, they become extremely collectible because the visual appearance clearly demonstrates the minting mistake. Collectors often search for coins showing 20, 30, or even 50% off-center strikes, which are especially dramatic and fascinating examples of mint production errors. Another potential mint error that can dramatically increase the value of a coin is the broad strike error, which occurs when the retaining collar that normally shapes the coin's diameter fails to hold the blank in place during the strike, allowing the metal to spread outward beyond its normal boundaries, resulting in a coin with an unusually wide and flattened appearance, and often missing its defined rim. These broad strike errors show exactly how the striking process malfunctioned, and they serve as physical evidence of the mechanical complexity behind modern coin production. Collectors also search carefully for clipped planchet errors on 1988 pennies, which occur before the coin is even struck when the metal strip used to create coin blanks overlaps incorrectly during the punching process, resulting in a blank that is missing a curved or straight section. And when this imperfect blank is later struck with the Lincoln cent design, the final coin displays a distinctive clipped area that proves the error occurred during the blanking stage of production. These clipped coins are fascinating to collectors because they demonstrate how mistakes can happen long before the coin reaches the striking press. Another intriguing possibility that can occur on any coin, including the 1988 Lincoln cent, is the strike-through error, where foreign materials such as grease, dust, metal fragments, or even fibers from cloth or paper become trapped between the die and the planchet during striking, preventing part of the design from forming correctly. This results in unusual textures, missing design areas, or strange impressions on the coin's surface. And depending on the material involved, these strike-through errors can create dramatic and visually striking patterns that collectors find extremely interesting. Yet another type of error that could contribute to the incredible potential value of a 1988 penny is the die crack or cut error, which occurs after a die has been used repeatedly and begins to develop fractures in its metal structure. When a die crack forms, it appears on the struck coin as a raised line because metal from the planchet flows into the crack during the striking process. And when a piece of the die actually breaks away entirely, it creates a cud, a raised blob of metal on the coin that often appears near the rim where the die failure occurred. Large cut errors are especially collectible because they clearly show the progressive wear and eventual failure of the minting die. Collectors who specialize in die state analysis often study these features carefully because they help document the life cycle of the dies used during coin production. Another extremely rare possibility that could make a 1988 Lincoln cent incredibly valuable is a wrong planchet error, where the coin design is accidentally struck onto a blank intended for another denomination or metal composition. Although such errors are rare, they have occurred in the past, and when authenticated, they can command enormous prices because of their rarity and the unusual circumstances that allowed the mistake to happen. For example, if a Lincoln cent design were struck onto a blank meant for a dime or a foreign coin planchet, the resulting coin would instantly become one of the most fascinating mint errors imaginable. Collectors are also interested in rotated die errors, which occur when the reverse die is not properly aligned with the obverse die during installation in the press, resulting in a coin where the reverse appears rotated relative to the front when flipped vertically. Small rotations may go unnoticed by the general public, but large rotations such as 90 degrees or even 180 degrees are dramatic and highly collectible because they reveal a clear mechanical error during die setup. Alongside these mechanical and production errors, the overall condition of the coin plays a major role in determining its value. Because collectors strongly prefer coins that have remained in exceptional mint state condition with bright original luster, sharp details, and minimal signs of wear, especially when the coin retains its full red copper color, which gradually fades over time as the coin circulates. A 1988 Lincoln cent discovered in pristine uncirculated condition combined with a rare error variety would immediately attract intense interest from collectors and professional grading services. And when such a coin appears at auction, the competition among collectors can drive prices far beyond what most people would expect for a simple penny. The idea that a 1988 1-cent coin could theoretically reach a value of $12 million captures the imagination of coin enthusiasts because it reminds us that rarity, historical curiosity, and collector demand can combine to create astonishing values in the numismatic marketplace, although such extraordinary prices represent the extreme end of the collecting world. The possibility itself inspires people everywhere to take a closer look at their coins, searching through jars of pennies, bank rolls, pocket change, and old collections inherited from family members, hoping to discover something unusual that others have overlooked, because history has shown that remarkable coin discoveries sometimes happen in the most ordinary places. A rare error penny found in circulation, an unusual variety hidden inside a coin roll, or a long-forgotten coin tucked away in a drawer waiting decades to be rediscovered by someone with the curiosity to examine it carefully. And that is exactly what makes coin collecting such an exciting and rewarding hobby. The thrill of the hunt combined with the knowledge that every coin carries a story about how it was made, how it traveled through the economy, and how it eventually reached the hands of a collector who appreciates its uniqueness. The Lincoln cent itself has been one of the most recognizable coins in American history since it was first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, becoming the first United States coin to feature a real historical figure. And over more than a century, the design has evolved through several reverse types, including the famous Lincoln Memorial reverse used during the 1988 production year. A design that shows the iconic Washington Monument, where a tiny representation of Lincoln's statue can even be seen between the columns under magnification. A small, artistic detail that many people never notice yet adds another layer of fascination to the coin. Billions of these cents were produced in 1988 across different mint facilities and circulated widely throughout the country. Yet within those billions of coins, the possibility remains that rare mint errors slipped past inspection and entered circulation, quietly waiting to be discovered years later by attentive collectors. And that is why enthusiasts continue to examine their coins carefully, studying the date, mint mark, lettering, and design details, searching for signs of doubling, unusual shapes, striking anomalies, or anything that appears different from the typical coin, because even the smallest difference can signal the presence of a rare variety that collectors have been searching for. And while the chances of finding a coin valued in the millions are extremely small, the excitement of possibility keeps collectors engaged, learning and exploring the fascinating world of numismatics. So the next time you come across a 1988 Lincoln cent, do not dismiss it as ordinary change. Take a closer look at its details, its lettering, its strike, and its surface, because hidden within that small copper-colored coin could be a rare minting error or unusual variety that transforms it from a 1-cent coin into a remarkable collectible. And here at Coin Discovery USA, we celebrate that sense of discovery by exploring the secrets, stories, and surprising possibilities hidden inside everyday coins, reminding collectors everywhere that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are the ones that have been hiding in plain sight all along, just waiting for someone curious enough to notice them.